I talked a lot during the election campaign about how the Labor Party, the broader left, including the Teals, and most of the media and the so-called moderate Liberals sought to demonise and misrepresent the Liberal candidate for Warringah, Katherine Deves. It was all over the issue that had propelled her into public advocacy, the rights of girls and women in sport, when they come up against biological males. It's not as if there hasn't been plenty of examples in professional sport to worry about. We've seen a few examples over the past couple of years, including New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard, who competed at the Tokyo Olympics. And of course, there's Leah Thomas, who won the US National Women's Swimming Championships, despite previously being a competitive swimmer in the male events. This issue was canvassed at length during the election campaign, thanks to Deves, who before becoming the candidate for Warringah had co-founded Save Women's Sport Australasia. The ABC was one of the many groups that mocked and misrepresented Deves, accusing her of spreading extremist comments. The national broadcaster even published a piece questioning whether trans women actually have an advantage over other women, as if that's seriously in doubt. And they overtly linked the debate to the election campaign. But after several complaints and an internal review, ABC Chair Ita Buttrose has now been forced to concede the story contained serious editorial lapses after ignoring research that trans women can retain physical advantages. The story has been corrected now or updated to include references to a study showing that trans women in the US Air Force run on average 12% faster than biological women. Surprise, surprise. Let's bring in Katherine Deves, who joins me from her home in Sydney. Good to talk to you again, Katherine. This is a small consolation to you now during the campaign, but this was the sort of misinformation that was directed at you and this issue relentlessly at the time, right?
Oh, that's right, Chris. Good evening. Look, the system is completely broken on this issue, and it's been very much aided by media outlets like the ABC, who have been woefully unbalanced, including being incredibly hostile to anyone who raises concerns, myself included, as we saw in the election. And, you know, they have a relationship with this group, ACON, that in my view, which is also many others also hold this view, including Senator Claire Chandler, that has compromised their ability to be unbiased and impartial on any of these issues to do with gender identity.
So are you pleased to at least see this correction, an admission of error and a correction from the ABC?
Oh, absolutely. To see Ita Buttrose actually conceding that they are being unbiased, they are being biased and not impartial. I mean, this is a real win for the women, not just myself, but countless women out there pouring in unpaid hours, trying to raise awareness, do research. I mean, we're finding ourselves in the ridiculous position of having to go and get research that proves that males are faster, bigger, stronger when it comes to athletic performance. It's absurd.
It seems crazy. And of course, what you always want to emphasise is that it's not about demonising transgender people. Obviously, transgender people have rights and need to be able to compete in sport and live their lives as they want to. But it's about fairness to girls and women.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we're a sporting nation and we should be a fair sporting nation. And everyone should have the right to be able to access sport, but it should not come at the cost of women and girls. I mean, if women and girls are going to have the opportunity to play safely, compete fairly, they need to have a female-only sports category. It's as simple as that.
Well, it is straightforward, and to demonstrate how straightforward it is and how it's not transphobic, how it's not discriminatory, how it's just common sense, I'm about to show a comment from a very famous person. Now, I'm old enough to remember this person when it was he was Bruce Jenner, and he was one of the best athletes in the world, an Olympic Games gold medal decathlete, no less. Of course, now probably even more famous as Caitlyn Jenner, and here's what she said about this debate.
Question of fairness. That's why I oppose biological boys who are trans competing in girls' sports in school. It just isn't fair. And we have to protect girls' sports in our school.
Now, Caitlyn Jenner is a supreme athlete. She obviously is not transphobic, and what she has said there is absolutely correct, right?
Oh, I absolutely agree with Caitlyn. You know, what Caitlyn said was absolutely common sense. And I think for any fair-minded Australian, I mean, we want to see as many people as possible play sport. But with women and girls, we have a huge attrition rate when they hit puberty. And if we put more barriers in their way where they see that they might be competing against a male and they have no chance of winning, they're going to self-exclude, they're going to step away, they're going to develop this thing called learned helplessness, which means that they think they can never succeed. And that is something they will carry with them forever. So if we are going to be fair to women and girls, you know, little girls have every right to participate, just like, you know, the middle-aged male who wants to transition later in life and he wants to go play community sport. I mean, my little girls have every right to be safe and to play fairly in sport. And, you know, that was the message from the beginning. And to see the ABC just misrepresent that view, I think they really owe an apology, not just to, you know, me aside, but to the Australian public for misleading them, and also to all the little girls, the women, the supporters of women in sport, you know, the viewers, that they have, you know, propagated this really destructive, divisive narrative that I think they really ought to be apologetic for that.
Well said, Katherine, and congratulations on not being silenced.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's always great to be on your show.
Katherine Deves there, she's had a lot thrown at her, but she's still talking a lot of common sense.